15 famous actors who disappeared. Then and now, 2026. How many actors do you remember who used to be everywhere on screens, movies, TV, even magazine covers? And how many of them suddenly seemed to disappear from Hollywood entirely? From teen heartthrobs to box office giants, fame can be fleeting. And stepping away from the spotlight can change everything. Today, we're counting down 15 famous actors who faded from fame, stepped out of Hollywood, or chose a private life, and where they are now. Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz was a huge movie sensation in the 1990s and early 2000s, recognized in blockbuster films like There's Something About Mary, Charlie's Angels, and Vanilla Sky. In 2014, she appeared in several films such as The Other Woman, Sex Tape, and Annie. Then she moved away from show business, eventually deciding to retire to concentrate on private life. Cameron Diaz revealed that she wanted to take back her own life and that she was not in the mood to continue accepting movie offers. Cameron Diaz has been out of film since 2014 to pursue family and life. Instead, she didn't film movies, but rather built her family with husband Benji Madden, reared her children, and attended to other interests, one of them being the winery business. Diaz has said that she wanted to be a mom and just live a normal day-to-day life for many years. Now, a little over a decade since then, she's back, on Netflix of all places, with the action comedy Back in Action to prove in her own way that sometimes being absent from the spotlight does not spell the end of a career at all, just a shift in focus. And speaking of stepping away from Hollywood, here comes Bridget Fonda. Bridget Fonda was a popular actress in the 1990s, starring in films such as Single White Female Jackie Brown and Godfather Part 3. She quit acting in the TV film Snow Queen in 2002, marking the last time she appeared on screen. Fonda was seriously injured in a car accident in 2003, and that same year, she got engaged to music composer Danny Elfman. They married in November of that year and have one son. In recent years, she has opted for a much more low-key existence, keeping out of the Hollywood limelight. In an interview regarding a comeback, she quipped that she is enjoying civilian life far too much to ever make a comeback to acting. Her story also proves that living a private life can also give the same feelings as becoming famous. The next star didn't walk away from fame completely. Instead, he reshaped it on his own terms. Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie Prinze Jr. was the teen girl's heartthrob in the late 1990s because of films such as She's All That and Scooby-Doo. Through the years, he moved his concentration away from acting on screen to writing and producing, and he tried to spend more time with the family. Prinze Jr. is married to fellow actor Sarah Michelle Gellar, and the couple has 2 children. He still acts upon occasion and does voice work for animated film and television, but he's a good deal less visible in mainstream Hollywood today than he once was, his choices now being based more on what feels right to him, both as an artist and a family man. Next up is another star who stepped back for a different reason, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Home Improvement and his voice work as young Simba in The Lion King made Jonathan Taylor Thomas one of the most recognizable young actors of the decade of the 1990s. Shockingly, at the height of his fame, he opted to leave acting so he could pay more attention to his studies. He attended Harvard, St. Andrews in Scotland, and Columbia University, proving that indeed there is life beyond Hollywood, even for the most loved teen icons. But the next actor didn't leave Hollywood to study or chase a new path. He walked away for something even more powerful: family. Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis is one of the most popular and hilarious actors of the 1980s and 1990s. You might remember him for his role as the geeky scientist in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the awkward Louis Tully in Ghostbusters or even the funny Dark Helmet in Spaceballs. However, in the late 1990s, he made an unexpected decision. He stopped acting and starring roles in films. This decision came after the death of his wife, Ann Belsky, due to breast cancer, and he wanted to raise his 2 kids instead of wandering the globe shooting for films, as he explained that the break he took turned into a longer break. Although he did not completely retreat from entertainment, as he voiced characters for animated movies and even appeared on occasion since Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves in 1997. Dave has not appeared in a live-action film. He even declined offers for a Ghostbusters reboot so that he could remain at home with his family. And speaking of stars who chose life outside Hollywood for family and peace, let's talk about our next celeb. Phoebe Cates. One of the biggest stars of the 1980s was Phoebe Cates. She had been known for such films as Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Gremlins. When she was at the peak of her success, she married actor Kevin Kline. They knew that when they married, they would alternate going to work so that at least someone would be at home with the children. Whenever it was Cates' turn to work, she chose family. Cates has owned an upscale boutique named Blue Tree in New York City that sells apparel and home goods since 2005. Cates has appeared in a few films since the 1990s. Nowadays, she enjoys building her own life and spending days running her own business. Next up is a very different type of career break, one that came after playing TV's most infamous villain, Jack Gleason. Jack Gleason rose to fame for his scary portrayal as King Joffrey Baratheon in the series Game of Thrones. However, after his show ended in 2014, Gleason deliberately distanced himself from any further acting. Gleason stated that the more acting felt like a chore and less like a funny activity that people enjoy, the more he would dislike doing it. He had plans to pursue a career in academia. However, this changed as well. Gleason was absent from the limelight for some years, but since the year 2020, he has gradually come back to acting in movies like In the Land of Saints and Sinners. He has also appeared in some other TV series, including The Sandman and House of Guinness. Our next star didn't walk away by choice alone. His career slowed after one of the biggest franchises in the world came to an end. Taylor Lautner. Taylor Lautner made a household name for himself when he played the role of Jacob Black in the Twilight Saga, which made him a teen sensation during the late 2000s. After completing Twilight with Breaking Dawn Part 2 in 2012, Lautner kept a relatively low profile as a career move. Even though he acted for a couple of years, he did not get starring roles befitting his former popularity. A part of the reason for the lack of success might have had to do with the association he had made as an actor, particularly as the werewolf character named Jacob Black, and the difficulty people might have experienced in imagining him in a very different kind of role. In recent years, Lautner hasn't disappeared completely. He appeared in the Netflix comedy Home Team in 2022 and has also co-hosted a podcast focused on mental health with his wife, where they talk openly about life after early fame. Next up is another Hollywood name who once seemed everywhere, but then chose to live life away from mainstream fame, Josh Hartnett. Josh Hartnett was one of the most popular younger actors in the late 1990s and early 2000s, with starring roles in big movies like Pearl Harbor and Black Hawk Down. But instead of riding the wave, Hartnett made the unexpected decision to withdraw from mainstream Hollywood and relocate to the English countryside. In an interview, Hartnett explained that he wanted nothing but his career defined in his lifetime, that he didn't want to be swallowed up in the machine that is Hollywood. This explains his shift into indie films. Speaking of careers that changed direction after award-winning success, let's talk about our next celeb, Cuba Gooding Jr. During the 90s and early 2000s, Cuba Gooding Jr. was one of the biggest names in Hollywood. For that classic performance of his in Jerry Maguire, he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor back in 1996. "Show me the money," he had famously shouted, a line that went into pop culture. That early high was not followed up with a conventional career path that would have led to sustained A-list roles. He has continued to work in acting, but much of his subsequent film work did not enjoy robust critical notice, and he appeared in smaller films and television rather than studio blockbusters. The next name on our list is different. He didn't fade out or struggle for roles. Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis was frequently referred to as one of the greatest actors of his generation, with that level of success coming a result of many years as an actor in movies that include My Left Foot, There Will Be Blood, and Lincoln, which yielded the actor 3 Academy Awards. Yet after acting in the movie Phantom Thread in 2017, he shocked many in the industry with his announcement that he had decided to retire as an actor. According to his representative, his retirement was a personal choice, in which he stated he would no longer be working as an actor. Day-Lewis had a well-documented pattern of retreating from the industry, spending a couple of years as a shoemaker in Florence during the late 1990s before going back to acting. But after Phantom Thread, his retirement seemed far more final for a time. That changed in 2025 when Day-Lewis sent shockwaves by heading back on screen in Anemone, which he co-wrote with and was directed by his son, Ronan Day-Lewis. Next is another face from the cinemas that just cannot be forgotten, Danny Lloyd. Danny Lloyd is most famous for his brief appearance as the young Danny Torrance in the horror hit The Shining, directed by the infamous Stanley Kubrick. Although he stunned the public with this epic performance in The Shining as just a kid, he chose not to pursue acting as an adult. In contrast, Lloyd walked away from the Hollywood scene, opting for a life that was not in the limelight. After appearing in a couple of small roles in the early 1980s, he decided not to act anymore, and instead pursued higher education. In 2004, he was a lecturer in biology at Elizabethtown Community and Technical College in Kentucky, teaching sciences. And finally, we come to the legendary screen presence. This person has had a long and eventful career in Hollywood. Shelley Duvall. Shelley Duvall was a unique and much-loved actress in the films she appeared in, such as The Shining, Popeye, and Annie Hall. In the year 2002, after acting in Manna from Heaven, Duvall decided to leave acting altogether and fade into obscurity in the Hollywood film industry. It is estimated that for around 20 years, she led a private life in Texas, keeping away from acting. However, Duvall sadly died in July 2024 at the age of 75 because of complications arising from her diabetes, and The Forest Hills was her final screen appearance. The next actress faced a different kind of career halt, early success that simply didn't last. Sean Young. Sean Young was one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces in the 1980s and early 1990s. She starred in iconic films like Blade Runner, Dune, No Way Out, and Wall Street, earning praise for her range across sci-fi and drama. Despite that early success, her career stalled in later years. After a series of high-profile roles in the 80s, she faced a mix of personal and professional setbacks, including injuries on set, public legal disputes, and struggles with typecasting, which made it harder for her to secure major Hollywood parts. Though she occasionally appears in smaller roles and even made a cameo in Blade Runner 2049, Young mostly stays out of mainstream Hollywood, showing how even very promising careers can take unexpected turns. Next up is an actor who also stepped back from major roles, but for very different reasons. Matthew Fox. Matthew Fox became a household name playing Dr. Jack Shephard on the hugely popular TV series Lost. After the show ended in 2010, he appeared in a handful of films like Alex Cross, World War Z, and Bone Tomahawk. However, after Bone Tomahawk in 2015, Fox stepped away from acting for nearly a decade. He explained that he felt he had completed the bucket list of roles he wanted to do and wanted to focus on spending time with his family and exploring other creative interests like music and writing. Fox finally returned in 2022 in the TV thriller Last Light as both lead actor and executive producer, marking his first major screen work in years. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through Hollywood's hidden stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Which celebrity story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. We love hearing your thoughts